I long for the days when Liam Neeson made action movies that felt fresh and thrilling. Do you remember? I bet you Pepper Farge remembers.
Remember sipping lemonade underneath a shady tree? Remember when you hit that pedestrian with your car at the crosswalk and then just drove away? Pepperidge Farm remembers. But Pepperidge Farm ain't just going to keep it to Pepperidge Farm shelf free of charge.
These days, it feels like his films come out on an assembly line, like they're all created in the same way with similar premises, with titles that make no sense or do not connect to the film at all. And unfortunately, I think Retribution might be the point that I've hit the breaking point. Let's talk about the good and the bad of Retribution. While driving with his two kids, a man receives a phone call from an unknown assailant who claims there's a bomb in the car. Unable to exit the vehicle, he must follow a series of twisted instructions while figuring out how to survive. So the main thing that kept me engaged in this film was the premise of the film. A guy that works really, really hard to the point where he kind of ignores his family, and his family's in a chaotic state because he's not there to participate when the siblings are arguing or pay attention to his wife because he's working so hard to give them this lavish lifestyle. It's a storyline that we've seen tons and tons of times, but something I maybe not have seen Liam Neeson do before. And I thought that the setup of it was done really great, leading into the reason why he had the kids that day, because he doesn't usually normally drive his kids to school. With them all in the car and we get that first call and the way the voice comes on, I was locked in and trying to figure out what was going on. This is a mystery thriller, and I think the mystery that they set up was pretty interesting because they put little things in the beginning of the film that made me feel like, okay, there might be some shady things going on in Matt's character that Liam Neeson's playing past, so why this might be happening. And the tensions really was building pretty decently in the beginning of the film, with Matt not realizing that the situation he was in was really serious, and how, like, once he did realize, that expression on his face, that change of attitude, him like, oh my god, my kids are in the car, and him trying to figure out, and them trying to figure out what's going on and why this is happening. And towards the ending of the first act, there was a serious question of, what did Matt do to deserve this? What did he do that put his family in danger for all these twists and turns and things that they were going on in the movie to end up in this situation? And the movie progressed pretty well until it got into like the second act, where that was a real good like question, and for him to like have to talk to his kids about it and then talk to his wife about it, I thought it was a really interesting premise to kind of help this family unit come back together in this very stressful situation. And other than that premise, I think the action was done really, really well. It's not amazing, it's not mind-blowing, it's not like top tier action. It's standard stuff that you may see in an action film, but done at a good rate. It wasn't look cheap. It didn't look like they didn't take their time. It wasn't super creative or anything, but it was just done in a way that I was like, oh my god, like I couldn't believe some of these people were in the situations that they were in. And as more people started getting in danger, the action started to ramp up. And the best part of the film is actually when he gets into this tunnel and all phone service and everything is cut off from this time, and the bomb is connected to a phone. So if the bomber was to call, it would blow up. And also it's also connected to a weight plate, so if he was to get up, then the bomb would blow up. So he was in a situation here where it's like, I can't get out of my seat, and also if I don't do what he tells me to do, this thing blows up. And the action tied to that was pretty decent. Now let's get into the bad. So this movie set up the character to have this particular arc. He's this overworking father who not paying attention to his kids and doesn't realize that he's missing the little things in life. That's what it feel like it was setting up, and that he may have a dark past that's now putting his family in danger. But the way the movie progresses and the way it ends, they never fulfill that arc. They never fulfill that arc in a satisfying way. It made me feel like, why was I going along this journey? Or did you even set up all these things in the film in the first place? The second thing is, they made the family insufferable. it kind of made me go like, I understand why he works so much and doesn't pay attention to you guys, because you guys are annoying. Maybe not his wife so much, but his kids, they did not make them seem very enjoyable to be around. They were just arguing all the time, being bratty, being annoying, and you have to balance that out in movies to me to show like, yeah, they're bratty and stuff like that, but there's something there why they're being bratty, or there's something there why, like, you know, he loves his kids. Well, obviously you should love your kids no matter what, but in movies they should show these kids have some positive things about them. I was gonna say applications, not robots, but, and it was just like, oh my god, they're just so insufferable. On top of that, not finished the story arc, not showing why he would even want to survive this situation because of how terrible his situation, his family situation is. When we get the big reveal of who the villain is and why they're doing it, it was so lackluster and it was so like telegraphed. You knew exactly from the first 10 minutes of the movie, yep, that's the person that did it. I see him. Leonardo DiCaprio pointed at him. That's him. This was just really just run of the mill. And on top of it being very predictable who the person was, they spent 10 to 15 minutes after the reveal just talking and talking and talking and talking, and a lot of the stuff that the villain was saying didn't make any sense and didn't really tie in anything. And then the reason why this villain or this antagonist was doing this did not tie into the paranoia or the nature that they set up with Matt's character in the beginning. So not only do you not get a finished character arc, you don't get a finished or particular reason that ties into the story that makes things more interesting. It just felt like such a sloppy film, and that was made that Liam Neeson just got an easy paycheck on, with not very much like really interesting moments. The most interesting part was the scene where he stopped at the tunnel and all the police is around him trying to figure out maybe he's the bomber and maybe he did it, and it was like, oh my god, did he set this up to do something with money or something like that? But they didn't do anything interesting like that, unfortunately. And yeah, this movie was a bore to watch in the theaters, and it was just not executed in a way that I could recommend super hard. When I left the theater, the older people that came into the theater and watched this movie, they were eating it up. They were talking about it. They were talking about the relationships and things like that, which really confused me because I didn't think there was any depth in it. But I guess they didn't need that, and they enjoyed it. So there's an audience for this film. Liam Neeson has his audience. Older people who love action films that are simple. So if you're looking for something a little bit meat on its bones, something a little bit more thrilling and interesting that doesn't feel so copy and paste, this is not for you. But if you are someone that likes to watch movies with their parents, their grandparents, or another family that's a little older that doesn't like complicated films, something that's a little, deep, they just want something that's simple and fun, that might be fun for them, this is something you could turn on at home and just watch a nice action film with Liam Neeson with an older person. But personally, for me, who have seen so many of his films and feel like this is like one of the worst versions of what he's done so far, I'm kind of tapped out of it. Like I'm kind of out of it, and I don't think I'm going to check out another movie of his in the theaters, unfortunately. But with that said, I'm going to give Retribution, which I still don't understand why the movie's called that, because it had nothing to do with the film. But anyway, I'm going to give it a D. Did you like it? Did you hate it? What would you personally rate Retribution? Did you go see it in the theaters? If you're watching my review later, did you check it out on streaming? Let me know in those comments down below, and let me know how you felt about the film overall. Like the video to get this video popping, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you can be notified of my reviews, reactions, live discussions, and join this growing community. And you can watch more content right now.